Da, 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 da. Live. Matt, we're live.
Are we?
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me.
The pleasure's all mine.
And I'm glad you got the memo about the black T-shirt.
Yeah, good.
That came through.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference for where you get your black T-shirts from? Primark, do you? Or
I get my black T-shirts from Sunspell.
Nice. Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever? Did you see Kanye West? He released like just a plain white T-shirt that was about 170 quid as part of his fashion line.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
That's got to be worth the price, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to get one. I just need to dye it black, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I do have some white T-shirts. Yeah. But they don't stay white very long.
You haven't opted for the V-neck, which I know is very popular amongst the disc jockeys.
No, I haven't. I've reached that level yet. I can always adjust this one.
I think you need to get a Beatport #1 for to go full V-neck.
Yeah.
And then the more #1s you get, the lower the V goes.
But then I'm into kind of neck furniture and stuff, aren't I? You know,
oh, yeah.
like medallions and I don't know, maybe a little bracelet.
Yeah, grow the chest hair right out.
Yeah.
Maybe dye that quite a stark black.
See, this is good then. I don't have to think about any of that.
You could shave the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with that.
No, yeah. Get a nice waxing. Maybe there could be some sort of like group garage waxing session that could happen. Could be a nice thing. Could be a great live stream.
I like that.
So behind the scenes, you've got a camera crew following you about. Are you doing some sort of reality show?
Yeah.
Keeping up with the Colemans?
Yeah, keeping up with the Colemans. No, I'm Charlotte's here from Platoon who facilitate my music being listened to by everyone.
Okay.
And they're kind of following me around to do a sort of interesting video type piece.
Yeah.
And just following me around for a bit, basically.
Nice. Could you see yourself becoming a sort of reality star?
Yeah.
You get bum implants.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. But I need to get I think I need to get a white T-shirt and then it's one stage at a time.
Yeah. And then maybe some sort of a basketball player as a boyfriend or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to get a hoop at home, I think.
Get big in the social media game.
Yeah.
That'll get the listeners, won't it? Has anyone suggested this, that maybe a celebrity partner might be the way to really get the reach?
Tom will make a note of that. He'll make it happen.
Jot it all down. This is great stuff. Yeah. Come on, I'm doing everyone's work for them.
Yeah, I do anything for music.
Do it all for the love.
That's right.
So recent music, like I was checking out the last few bits, the pictures in my head. Sorry. And Soak It Up.
Yep.
On newer label.
Yep.
892.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, I felt like back to slightly more melodic-y, lovely, warm, cinematic vibes.
Yeah.
Because the thing with AJ Tracy,
yeah.
Is it? Yeah. Hard. Yeah.
Odd.
London odd.
Cold.
Yeah. So Sincere came out in 2000-ish?
Yeah, something like
2000-ish.
Yeah.
So not long after that, there was the sort of grime kind of came along a little bit, and a lot of the garage guys got into the sort of harder stuff. Were you tempted to go harder then?
I've always just kind of made the stuff I want to make, really. I've never really thought, it's going this way, I need to do some of that.
Okay.
Probably to my detriment. I don't know. And also, however, I can make harder records, especially if it's an MC.
Yeah.
But I find if I've got a singer and we're writing songs and stuff, I just can't stop the music coming out, That's the trouble I had when I was chatting to the guys about this today. When I started making music, or when I was going out to clubs, I was into jungle, drum and bass, and that was it, basically. I wasn't interested in house and garage, anything like that. And so that's what I really wanted to make. So when I got my first stuff at home, I was making jungle and drum and bass, albeit trying to make jungle on a drum machine without a sampler. That, those kind of early amateur
that's
forays.
quite a feat, really, isn't it?
But my point is, when I was trying to make drum and bass, it always came out a little bit too musical.
Right.
So it kind of turned into jazz jungle. So when I, started making more garagey records or whatever, there was space for the music. So basically what I'm saying is, I I naturally make musical records, but I can make hard records.
If I'm pushed,
if it's an
hard.
MC, then it leads me in that direction.
Yeah.
But I don't ever like to think, oh, I make this kind of record or that kind of record. I just try and make the record that I think is good and is appropriate for that time.
Yeah. So what were the sort of drum and bass when you very first started? Were there any artists that I want to make records like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to, I was buying records when it was a complete mishmash. There was kind of like hip house records, and I'd listen to, there'd be like, LFO was out, and there'd be like Mickey Finn making, Urban Shakedown or whatever it's called, that record, and I was listening to DJs like sort of Tin and Randall was about, and those kind of people. So yeah, I was trying to make the music. I wanted to make the kind of records that I was listening to when I was out, but the musical was seeped in, and it got a little bit too radio and a little bit too musical.
Yeah, something about being classically trained that sort of is.
It's a hindrance. It is
dreadful hindrance.
It's a disability.
You know what? In a way, though, I guess it can be a little bit ball and chain round the leg. Like you just can't get if you. Like, I want to make really mono techno. It's just not going to happen, is it? Like,
I think you can restrict yourself in certain ways. If I really wanted to make, you just need to set boundaries, I guess, and stop yourself running away down this sort of musical warren. So I guess if I wanted to make a really kind of techie record, I'd probably throw my computer away and just get some hardware stuff, get a 16-step hardware sequencer and twiddle some knobs basically, and not have a keyboard around, and that
that would do it. Don't allow yourself the ability to actually tune anything. Like you can have a crack on the modular behind it. If you want to make some really bleepy non-musical ridiculousness, that's the place to start.
Great.
Also, if you've just got spare money lying around that you really just don't want anymore, and you'd really like to just... Yeah,
I'm kind of aware of the modular thing, because they seem to grow and they get very, very big, and they look kind of nice, but I just think if I start getting into it, I won't be able to stop.
Yeah, I'm tricking myself that it's an investment.
Right.
Because some of the modules, like, they do only do short runs of them, and so I guess there could be potential for them going up in value.
Is that like Eurorack stuff? Or?
Yeah. As long as it's doing better than bloody cryptocurrency at the moment, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Christ. The big question on everyone's lips, though, is what do you think of the GDPR? That's.
I'm loving that. I was chatting to someone about that today. It's amazing. It's kind of like, I'm going to send you an email saying that I'm never going to send you any emails anymore. All you have to do is press backspace. And I didn't even realise you were sending me stuff. I've probably junked you or whatever, but it's great. But I mean, I do, I do kind of wonder how much it's going to affect certain businesses, right? I don't want people to kind of lose out, but does that mean we're going to get it in the face even more on Facebook and those kind of things? I don't know.
Probably. I mean, if you had someone sending you emails that you really wanted to keep on, you would be motivated enough to, click yes, keep sending me stuff. But I think there is also, like, if you opted in a certain way, they can just keep you on as it is.
Oh, can they?
I think so.
Oh yeah, I think we're chatting about. I think if originally you actually gave permission for them to send you emails, then they're fine. I think it's more the ones that didn't really ask you whether they could send you stuff. That's my very amateur, probably incorrect understanding of it. That's
roughly the view I have it as well, with about the same level of
but
knowledge.
I'm enjoying it tremendously. It's great. Someone's sort of clearing out my inbox, with me just pressing one button. It's great.
Taking you to inbox zero, just automatically. More or less exciting than Royal Wedding?
More exciting, I think. Well, it was the Royal Wedding was kind of a nice thing. I think it was on TV as a background, kind of sort of soothing, quite a nice thing to be there. But I didn't realise that was coming either until a few days before.
It's just there. My dad decided to get married, I think, on the same day. But then he gets married all the time to the same woman for fun. Like, they get married. They get married on cruise. They go on cruises all the time. And I found if you get married on a cruise, you get to sit at the captain's table. So yeah, a little pro tip.
So they
for
don't,
you there.
they don't
pro marriage
check up to see that you're.
Well, as long as you pay for the wedding there, I think there's like 50 quid or something.
Oh, right.
Just the two of them. It's adorable. So back on topic.
Yeah.
You were at Sour, am I right?
Yeah.
In Dave Stone days.
Yeah.
Wow. I used to work for Dave in a sort of as a flyer boy in 2001.
Up north.
No, in Brighton when he was running the Ocean Rooms.
Yeah.
He was doing the promotion for the Ocean Rooms, the bookings and so on, and also a drum and bass night in Brighton called Meltdown.
Okay, yeah.
And Mini Melt also. Actually, we were doing a night at... You're playing at Hideout tomorrow.
Yeah.
In Brighton. We were doing a night there at the time called the Tsar Bar with me and Jack Mum Dance.
Oh, okay.
He was one of Dave Stone's boys as well.
Right. Oh.
Yeah, going all the way back. How was that? I imagine there were some stories.
Well, working for the Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great because I came straight out of uni and started to work for those guys. So it was, Dave and Norton and all those guys. And it was down in Victoria in Strutton Ground. So they had an office there and they had a studio underneath Trident 2.
Right.
And I loved it because I come out of college and basically I got to go and work in the studio as a kind of helper or whatever. And then I just started playing keys and got involved in sessions. And within a few months, I was kind of doing sessions. So that was great. And I got, I think it was kind of a good time for them. That's where I met Elizabeth Troy, and then Shy was signed there. Yeah. And there was like T-Power and Elements of Noise. And I met like Ed down there and kind of Freak Nasty and Reese and all these kind of people that I still know now. So it was good. Dave was just kind of like running around in a mad way with some funny sunglasses in the office the whole time.
Sounds about right.
They had a lot of wall charts and planners and things like that. I didn't take much notice of that. I just went to the studio and drank Nourishment and
I drank Nourishment in my youth as well, but then the other day I looked at the sort of nutritional content of the Nourishment, and it doesn't actually seem that nourishing, I'm going to be honest with you. It's just something like 55 grams of sugar per dog food tin.
Right.
I used to work in a call centre, and everyone there drank it. But it was confusing time.
It just seemed like a convenient way to get a meal from the newsagents.
yeah.
But I used to get a chocolate bar with it.
Oh, that's okay. Balanced
because it's a drink, right? Yeah. So you need to eat something.
You have to have some sort of sustenance.
Yeah.
Who else was like? Who were you doing engineering for there? Like, and what style of engineering were you doing?
So I didn't. I was kind of assisting on different sessions, but I ended up kind of engineering for. So Jim Robbins' Raw Deal. He was kind of every week. He used to do a session with Elizabeth Troy. I think it was every Wednesday, and he was doing kind of quite R&B sort of hip hop stuff. So I engineered most of those sessions. That became kind of a regular thing. And then they opened a studio in Kingston Road in Dalston. And I started working there. They had two studios on the go at the same time. And really, that's where I started making garage stuff with the Pirate Radio guys.
The garage.
Yes.
Nice. What was the early setup for making the early garage?
What, technically?
Yeah.
So in that studio, I love technical questions. In that studio,
give me model numbers.
Well, I never get to speak about it to anyone. They had an AMEC Einstein board, and then we had I think S3000. There were a lot of Roland S760s. I had one at home. The little 4-output green screen 1U things. Norton had one, but he had the monitor connector, so you could control it with a mouse and a monitor.
Wow.
Which I
That's
never
high
had.
tech.
That's high tech.
Yeah.
And then we had Eventide harmonizer. We had ADAT machines that all the tracking was done on. Well, just one ADAT, 8-track. And what else did we have? We had Bell Delay, BD80. We had Roland SRV reverbs. We had a patch bay that never really did anything because everyone used to unplug the back of the sample every session they used to do and direct wire it. So every time you came in, there'd be like nothing left.
Yeah.
And NS10s. It's amazed me actually in Strutton Ground, making all these drum and bass records. They just had NS10s.
That was the drum and bass speaker.
Yeah,
though.
nothing bigger than an NS10.
Yeah,
you know, trying judging bass and stuff.
They were so hard to make sound good that if you could make it sound good, you were sorted. Basically.
But you can't hear anything under about 80 hertz with them, which is kind of a little bit weird for making bassy club records. But
it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess if you could get it out of them, then
it's going to be huge.
Yeah. Oh, what's happened? It's chaos. Are you off? It's fine. We won't pay them any more attention. So you've always been quite into the tech side of things.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm a studio bod.
Yeah. If you ever got I was watching a video of you in November for computer music.
Right.
Picking apart like the opening chords, and you start everything sort of sat at the piano.
No, I probably said that.
Okay, yeah, just to sound cool.
Yeah.
This just look hard.
No, I just start with one of your sample packs.
Yes, that's more like it. Yeah.
Try and make it sound like it hasn't come from there.
Yeah.
And then generally, I don't really have a set way of starting. I try not to have a set way of starting. I think that's a dangerous thing, not to have it's all right, they're gone now. Not to have a set way of starting. So I'd say more often than not, I might start with a beat. And more often than not, if I'm making like a garagey thing, I'll start with hi-hats, leave out the kick and snare, do the hi-hat thing first, and even like little fills and stuff like that, and then drop the kick in. I'll try and sort of save things that I know are going to be rewarding and push me on a little bit. Try and save them.
Okay.
I thought of an analogy then, but I'm not gonna go into that. It's just in my mind.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I know you like an analogy.
No. Dave likes an analogy.
He does like an analogy.
I enjoyed his multi-band compression analogy.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was thankful because I was really starting to lose.
It's when he started going into the fade, you can look ahead and then decide. Yeah, I loved it.
I think he can see the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can
with the right maths and the right eyes.
Yeah,
see into the future.
What was I say? How does strategy? Yeah, so I don't. There's no set answer, but yeah, I do. As I get older, I love my piano more and more and more. So it's kind of like I started my life only playing the piano and pretty much not writing music at all, and pretty much just playing a very select few pieces extremely well by heart, performing them at competitions. So I'd probably only have about 3 or 4 pieces on the go at any time. But I'd practice them a lot, and I used to play them very, very well. So I'm not going back to that, but I'm going back to my love of the piano. I think more and more as I go on.
Yeah, you can fit it. Was it track geared piano?
Oh yeah, okay.
Just a slight sort of. Was it slightly sort of dubsteppy, or was it sort of more half-timey sort of?
Yeah,
but it was like quite a sort of. It was much less loopy than when most people put melodic-y stuff in. It was like, I'm going to play really nice piano, and then we'll put some electronic elements in as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there's a lot of piano music in me somewhere. Well, I kind of know where it is already. I think I'm just kind of waiting for the right time to actually kind of record it and release it. I kind of got this vision that I'll just go to a residential studio for a week and then just me and a piano and just kind of record this stuff. But I'm always a little bit kind of wary about, oh no, I'm kind of known for DJing and making dance records, and then if I come out with like a piano album, that would be kind of like people are, oh, he's gone soft and he's gone all piano, that's it kind of thing.
We want another Wiley track.
Yeah.
Come on, can you just make Sincere over and over and over and over again for the rest of your life?
But I'd like nothing more than if someone came to me, like gave me a big chunk of money and said, I've hired you a studio for 2 weeks residential, and I could go there and play the piano and come out with 10 piano tracks, and then
I could give you almost no money and you could sleep on my floor.
Yeah, okay.
I'll set up like a little keyboard or something.
Yeah.
You know, I could get one of those H4n recorders, and you can just like record it sort of dictaphone style on there.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Yeah.
That'd do it.
Yeah.
Or like, did you hear? You know, Captain Beefheart?
Oh yeah.
When Frank Zappa. Well, the story goes that when Frank Zappa said, "Captain, I'll pay for it. Can you make me an album?" And he made for him to make Trout Mask Replica. Apparently, the captain goes, "Yes, okay." 13 hours later, rings back, "I've done it." And then it took them like 7 months to record it or something.
Oh,
like,
right.
He'd written the whole thing.
I've done it in my head.
Yeah, and then to try and actually get musicians to play the insane music that he'd written took 7 or something months of them all living in some deranged house together.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. I think if I do the piano thing, I've kind of got all the ideas, but I'd want to play them as one take things.
Right.
And once you start getting into recording one take things at something as delicate as a piano, I think I've learned from experience you can start disappearing down a sort of perfectionist.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was people's sort of entire lives back in the, in the earlier days. Let's get these however many few pieces, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life perfecting them, and then before dying of some sort of horrendous illness, probably.
I'm still working on that bit. Yeah. But I mean, then you can actually get these super duper pianos, can't you? That record and then actually will play back on the piano as you played it.
So it records a very accurate MIDI.
And but then it will actually play back mechanically through the piano.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, my knowledge of piano technology, I'll have to be honest, is quite limited.
Yeah, I think Steinway do one. Yeah, I mean, it's going to cost more than the Ferrari sort of thing. Yeah, I bet. So I'll probably just, I don't know. I kind of got a vision with the piano thing of going around, having a certain few pieces. It will be improvisatory, but go round some different pianos. So have 10 ideas in mind and then go and record them, or improvise them on like a pub piano or my studio upright that I've got, or a nice Steinway, or in a big hall, or in some dodgy garage somewhere. Maybe that could be the thing, right? It's just pianos in dirty garages. That's the artwork, right? There you go. Yeah. So I haven't left the garage. The piano's just in the garage.
I got a text from my mum this morning. She was like, "Oh, haven't you got your first podcast today?" And I was like, "Yes." She goes, "Who have you got on?" I was like, "Oh, I've got a well-known garage producer." And she's like, "Oh, well, maybe he'll know what to do with your car." I broke it down recently. And I'm like, I can't quite decide whether or not if she's joking or not. She might be more clued in than I'm giving her credit for.
Yeah, but I think all these weddings are doing something to it. Yeah.
You did a live band thing for a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, around time the first album. Yeah, I had a live band, and we got it together actually because there was an opportunity to do later Jules Holland.
Yeah.
And we got the band together specifically so the guys could come and hear us, so we could qualify to be on that show. So I remember we just hired a space at John Henry's, I think Monday to Friday, and the producers came in on the Friday to kind of check it out and see if it was good enough for the show. So we started from nothing on the Monday, and I think we only did got 3 songs together. But yeah, so we went on Jules Holland, did that, and then I did a few, kind of awardy things. I think we performed at Mobo's and blah, blah, blah. And then we toured with Ronnie Size and Represent, supporting them on their UK tour. And then we kind of did European stuff. Yeah, it was good.
Did you win a Mobo?
Yeah, I did. For Best Producer one year. It was
Beat Dr. Dre or something?
Possibly, yeah.
Do you think he's still a better producer than Dre?
No.
Do you think he's upped his game since then?
Yeah, he's improved.
So, I'm not letting MJ win it again.
Yeah, no, I think that was inspiration for him probably.
But yeah, maybe
got him going.
Maybe you deserve a small percentage of that Beats money.
Yeah,
if you think about it. Hey doctor, that whole mobile business, perhaps just at least some free headphones.
Yeah,
could be.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about starting a supergroup with Maya Jane Coles and J Cole? And maybe Joe Cole, the footballer.
And Cole Train that I'm working with at the moment as well.
Yeah, there you go. You could be MJ and the Coles.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah,
It's
yeah. As long as I get
my
my MJ thing in first, MJ and the Coles would be
you
good.
could conduct it or something.
Yeah,
Perhaps, and then I don't know, Mike could do a bit of scratching.
yeah.
Obviously, you got J Cole on the mic. That's Joe Cole's just doing keepy uppies at the front. He can be like the sort of Bez character of the group.
Yeah.
Maybe I heard he likes to get on it as well, so that might be all right.
That'd be perfect.
Hey, you never know. Do you think you'd go back to doing a live thing, or like?
Yeah. That's
Is it in the works?
Yeah, it's in the works. And people are encouraging me to do that. I'm just not quite sure exactly what that is at the moment. Because the two extremes are, one, it's a club thing, and it's me surrounded by loads of gadge and keyboards, and it's a much
Mega
more
tech.
clubby thing with visuals. The other extreme is it's me at piano and Rhodes, and we got live instruments and drums. So I'm just kind of deciding exactly what it will be. But I do really want to do it. I think it's going to be next year probably. But yeah, that's something. It feels like something I want to do again now, and I think it will be musically rewarding. And I'm kind of, getting to a stage where I just want to. Perform again musically, to be playing.
Have you? Some people don't enjoy DJing. Like, I've spoken to a few people that just, I don't know, they just don't like it. Are you a fan of your?
I generally I do like it. I always consider myself to be a musician and composer and writer first and foremost. I guess it varies, doesn't it? Sometimes you play a gig and like, that's it, I love it, and then other ones just aren't as great. But generally, it's something I like doing, and everyone says this, but I think it's important to kind of go and play your records out and to actually hear what's going on, and that you haven't just disappeared down some hole. And you think everything you've done is great, and actually you go and play it out and it sounds pants.
You learn a lot about your own records playing them out live, particularly arrangements.
Yeah, when stuff goes on too long and you're like, oh, this feels a bit awkward.
Even just getting someone else, even someone that you know in the studio, and just be like, oh, have a listen to this. Yeah. That will like within seconds you'll be like, oh, that bit's too long.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't like, even when it's just a friend or it's your mum or whoever, even if it's someone who
completely
doesn't know anything about music. Like it's.
And and also when you're DJing, you've been playing all these other records that you know how they sound, and there's things that you can hear, even if you're in a DJ booth and the sound's pretty rubbish, and you might have earplugs in and headphones over your ears. You get to feel like some weight in a track. Yeah, and then you can have the best monitors in the world in a perfect studio, and in a way they kind of can be too good sometimes that you miss weighty things going on at the bottom, and when you play in a club you get to find out immediately. And obviously I don't do anything to change the tracks, I just think they're rubbish and move on.
That's fine. Just cast it aside. Just throw the CD out the window, and that's it, it's done. Do you do the things of if you just have burn one track onto each CD so it get it louder, play it out. Or just one SD card?
What's a CD?
What do you play on? No, you SD cards or USBs or
USBs? Yeah. USBs. I went through a period. I mean, I was playing vinyl properly at the beginning. There was no other option. Then I instead of cutting plates, I'd burn CDRs, and then I probably switched to Ableton, playing from Ableton. I don't know, like 2008 or 9 or something, pretty early on. And I played off Ableton probably for 5 years.
Right, because I remember when, I want to say 2009-ish, where there were a lot of more like multi-genre nights that you were on lineups for. We were doing a sort of similar circuit, like me, you, Jack Mum Dance, Elvis, who else? I'm struggling to remember now, but there was a kind of that sort of just dubstep, but kind of hadn't gone full bro yet. America hadn't sort of gone all American with it. And there was the more sort of housey garagey side of it, and it was all really. I was a big fan.
I mean, I was making dung 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 dung.
The rhythmy sort of stuff. Yeah.
And that was a good time. I got really excited about playing again then. And it was that sort of UK funky thing happened. Maybe slightly around that time, but I was into making a lot more bass heavy records.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone really noticed. Like no one ever sort of like when I look back at my repertoire, it just seems like everyone skipped pretty much every record I made then, or remix.
Just looking in another direction.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, it's as though it never happened. So it can be sort of discouraging. You think, yeah, I'm onto this new thing, and I found this new sound, and then you think, oh, actually, no one is really listening to it. But I loved DJing at that time. It was good. And yeah, I was playing from Ableton, so I went through all the computers shutting down, people knocking leads out, drinks all over your thing, different controllers that didn't work, blah, 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 blah. But I really liked playing from Ableton. I still miss playing from Ableton.
Really?
In that, yeah, I mean, the thing I miss most is visually, I just loved having all my tracks as little Lego bricks on a screen. And I knew that this Lego brick was green and it was over on the left, and I could drag it into the middle. I was able to find my tracks a lot better visually. I find it hit hard with CDJs, just seeing a load of text.
Yeah.
I miss the colour. I mean, I miss that about vinyl.
Yeah, you would know. It would all be just the colour of the sleeve and sort of prompt the...
Yeah, this one's always hanging out, that one's ripped, or it's got a little mark on the back. I really found that really useful, and I miss that in CDJs. But, I mean, the end for Ableton came, I think I was playing at Boardmasters in Cornwall, and I was staying at a hotel pretty near where I was playing, and I kind of said to the guys at the hotel, like, you know, how far is it where I'm going? They're like, it's like half a mile away. And so I'm like, cool, I'm going to walk. And I had this, you know, big sort of trolley bag with my 17-inch laptop in and my RME interface and like blah, 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 you know, all that kind of stuff. And basically I didn't realise it was actually across fields to get there. I just kind of thought it'd be along a road, like half a mile along. And so I basically dragged all this stuff across the field, and I got to the stage, and the guy before me was just playing off 2 USB sticks, and he literally just pulled them out, popped them in his like cargo shorts, just ran off across the fields, and I'm just like, that's it, I'm changing. I also had a conversation on a plane coming back with Arthur artwork from somewhere, and he was like, no man, you need to get on this, you know, like blah 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 blah. And we drank white wine and ate sushi, and he told me all about them. He had those kind of grenade style ones that people used to have, you know, it's like it's bulletproof. So I kind of got into it from there, and I kind of like changing up what I'm playing from. It makes me excited again.
Because that danger element.
Yeah, I've got this
quite
new
know
thing.
exactly how it works.
But I love rolling around, going to clubs with just headphones in one pocket and USBs in the other. So
the
answer
cargo
is,
shorts are designed for.
Yeah.
Really, you get your vape in there and your headphones and your wraparound shades.
It's all perfect.
Leatherman.
Yeah.
And
hotel key.
Yeah. So you're sorted.
There you go.
You know, and then just a vest, I think.
A string vest.
Yeah, sorted.
Or a V-neck.
Probably camo cargo shorts, I think.
Yeah, greenish.
It's there. It's either it's them or it's the ones that zip off the bottom of the
full
legs.
Camping business. Yeah. No, I do like a cargo short, but I miss them. I wear them all summer, and I get used to like having certain, like, phone goes there, wallet goes there. It's cool. You're all nice and free. Like, you don't have to wear anything. And then winter comes, and the cargo shorts have to go away, and you go back to the jeans, and there's no room, and it's just.
You could go cargo trousers. You could do it.
Yeah.
It's a statement, though. The cargo trouser. Isn't
the
it?
cargo trousers is a bit too much. The cargo short for the summer's cool, but I don't know. Maybe
never go full cargo trouser.
If Kanye starts doing cargo trousers, then I'll be there.
800 quid each or something. And they'd probably all be ripped to shreds deliberately, because that's how the millennials like it.
Sounds great.
Yeah. I heard you're into cycling.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of nice cycling trousers, special cycling shorts, the padded out gussets.
Yeah. I've got all that. Yeah. I'm heavily into cycling.
Really? What, big, long, epic cycles?
Yeah. All sorts of cycling. I mean,
unicycling?
Not unicycling, no. Road cycling mostly, and cyclocross. I don't know. I could go on for ages. In fact, but tomorrow I'm playing in Brighton tomorrow. I posted a rucksack to the hotel on Tuesday, and I'm going to ride down there, do the gig, post my rucksack back on Saturday morning and ride back to London.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, how about that?
Just for a laugh.
If you're short of train fare, mate, just ask and I'll...
well, it cost me 20 quid to post my rucksack.
I hope you're going to charge the promoter for that.
Yeah, probably will. But no, I'm heavily into cycling, and I kind of go off to mountains and ride up and down mountains and cycle everywhere all the time and go to various places.
How long have you been into that?
I got into that in like 2011 and 12. I did this Fireflies ride from Geneva to Cannes, this charity thing, and I did it 2 years running. So I got into cycling then, and then I sort of had kids and got really fat again, and then I kind of got back into it a few years ago.
Right.
Yeah, so I've been into it since then. I try not to talk about it because people find it very boring, but yeah, it's something that I do a lot of. I'm
quite interested in the other sort of things that people do to keep themselves sane outside of the industry.
It's really great. I mean, it's you know, when you go riding, it's very kind of meditative, and obviously you're out kind of, you know, in the countryside, and it's incredibly good for you. You know, I probably do you know, it's like 10,000 a year I do about at the moment, something like that. So it's it's a lot of outdoor time, and it's good. Yeah, it's good for your mind, especially when in the studio the whole time, because you know, it's like you're just kind of in this sort of very small space, not moving around, and cycling is like the perfect antidote to that. And it's kind of, it's free, right? Well, once you've got the bikes and stuff, it's kind of, you can just go whenever you want. It's cool.
But you do have the option to really go full kit monster with it. Like there's every different little thing that you can get for your bike, or all the different little bits of tech, or like you can just go all out.
But I'm sort of.
Are you trying to keep it simple?
Yeah, minimalist, really. Like I'm not. I don't want to put anything on my bike that's good. I'm gonna have to carry up. Well, I have a computer, yeah.
Oh yeah,
but that's very small. But yeah, no, the less on the bike, the better, basically, because you have to carry it up mountains. I don't want to carry any stuff. I don't want to carry it.
Not big saddle bags.
No saddlebags.
Okay, that's what the cargo shorts are for.
No cargo shorts. In fact, they tried to bring out some Rafa, whose stuff I love. They brought out some like Lycra shorts, but with pockets on the sides, like the cargo version of the Lycra cycling short. Right. I haven't. I've gone for those.
Yeah, I like a bit of Lycra. You can't go wrong with a bit. I do jiu-jitsu, and you often have a Lycra, either only Lycra or Lycra underneath your sort of fighting pajamas for when you wrestle the men on the floor.
Right.
Which is also weird, strangely meditative.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you really can't think about anything else when someone's trying to strangle the life out of you. It's like, yeah, you can't think about, you know, how you can't get that snare to sound right, or you know, you just, while your mix downs are rubbish, which is generally what I think about. Oh. Don't know. Although trying to get stuff to sound good in this room is a bit of a tricky one so far. There's work to be done.
Yeah.
You know, Big Scotty Diaz?
Yeah.
He's just taken... Ledge. Yep, Ledge. He was just taken over my studio in Brighton, my old one.
Oh.
Which was a tiny room, like really as small as you can have, really, for doing anything in, apart from, you know, being in a coffin. And he has probably more acoustic treatment in it than there is in here. And like, as I was leaving, he just had 1,500 quid's worth arriving. Just like, there's more acoustic treatment than air in this room. So I've never seen anything like it.
I saw a picture yesterday that he put up, and I saw he's put his plaques up on the wall immediately.
Got all his plaques up. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh, I have to go and see him tomorrow as well. I didn't know he was in Brighton at the moment.
Yeah, he's over for 6 months or so.
Right.
Yeah, he did a remix for your label.
Yeah, he's a legend. Yeah, he did a remix of I think was it Undo? I think, yeah, the thing with Alice on.
Yeah.
And he also actually helped me do the demo song for my sample pack.
Did he?
Because I got a bit stuck with that. Yeah, I suddenly found it very difficult to kind of make a demo from my own sample pack. So yeah, he helped me out with that. So he's a proper ledge.
How did you find making a pack?
Well, I enjoyed it. It took me a very, very long time. It took me, I think, from when I started it to finished it, obviously not continuously, about a year.
Really?
Yeah, because but I've learned a lot from it. If I was to do another one, I would quite like to do another one. I'd certainly approach it in a different way. I think it's one of these things. You need to be very organized, and you need to kind of have foresight. You need to know exactly what you need to deliver at the end, and to think of a clever way of doing that. Because not the mistake I made, but the way I approached it was like, right, I need 60 kick drums. So basically I started making kick drums, and then basically at the end I sort of discovered that I had to do musical loops and drum loops, and then they all need to fit together. And really I did the musical loops and the drum loops and all the musical bass lines and instrument loops. I did them sort of all separately, just like dry basically. And what I should have done was try to make 10 tracks, top to bottom, like with different drums, different everything, and then kind of strip them down and use the loops from those so they all fitted together at the end.
Yeah, that's definitely the best way to do it.
So and then I think that would have obviously inspired me as I was going along, and not just think I'm sitting here listening to like 60 snare drums, EQing them, trying to make them all sound a bit different, just pitching them up and down. And, but I did really enjoy it. I mean, I think the reason that I sort of messed up on the loops thing, or made it hard for myself, was I don't really use loops ever, really. And occasionally, actually in Pictures in My Head, I've used a guitar loop at the beginning, but definitely not for drums and stuff. My ideal sample pack is loads of one-shot drums, loads of one-shot basses, and then loads of one-shot interesting bits. I always call them like musical snippets. They might be longer than, you know, a one-shot thing, but I like to take loads of bits, map them out over the sampler, and then mess around with them. That's just kind of the way I work. So I was always a bit like, I don't really want to do the loops thing, but I think they're probably pretty useful for people, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And people chop them up to make their own little musical snippets out of. That was the garage vibe. It was often the melodies were a collection of musical snippets, taken from here, there, and everywhere, sort of mashed together to make a sort of choppy swung kind of loop with then the nice skippy beats under it. And sort of. Did you ever do like just recording loops, your own loops, and then chopping them up? Like to I've done loads of that. I've tried everything.
I've done it all. I've done that quite a lot. I've done that quite a lot recently, not with garagey stuff so much, but I've done a lot of, say recording piano, different parts, and then kind of bass over it, and then taking that as a bounce, and then time stretching that, and then sound shifting it like, up an octave to get a weird effect, and then chopping that and slinging that back in the sampler. So I definitely going through a few generations of bouncing can like lead you in some pretty great directions. It can also lead you to places where you're like, this is absolute rubbish, and I've just spent like 2 or 3 hours going, no, I'm going to bounce it, then I'm going to chop it, and then I'm going to tune each separate bit to this, and then I'm going to go through another process to sound shift it, and then roll off the top, put it through an echo, duck it, and then chop those ducked bits back into the sample, and you just end up with this sort of, well, it's brown, isn't it? You get all these colours and you mix them together and you end up with brown. It's pretty boring.
You sort of back yourself into a musical cul-de-sac, really. Yeah,
but sometimes it can be cool.
Well, sometimes down those rabbit holes well, I hope that you learn to perhaps not, like, you get better at going down rabbit holes, if you sort of know what I mean. Like the more that you go down, like I'm weaving myself around better than I did the last time.
Yeah.
I'd like to try and convince myself.
You go down a rabbit hole and try and make sure that you don't carry on going downwards, and you come up the other side into
because that's what it's all about.
A field of daisies.
Yeah, or rather than
roses,
just come out in a fox's den or something like that.
Yeah, fantastic mix of fox vibes.
Yeah, and then you can
come out in the chicken farm, don't you?
Yeah. God, I must have listened to that about 1,000 times as a child on cassette tape.
Yeah, it's good. There's a very good film version. Have you seen it? Made by that amazing filmmaker person who I saw something else.
The amazing director.
Yeah, that amazing person.
Is it sort of animated? Sort of, but it looks great. I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah, it's good.
I'd definitely like to when I eventually have the children and stuff, and the country house and the sort of.
Is that on the cards?
Well, I hope so. Yeah, that's the plan eventually.
Yeah. Watch out.
give them all are they more trouble than they were?
No, I mean, I've got two. I've got two little girls, and they're amazing.
They give you a hard time.
No, they're cool, but it's it's especially if you're a musician, DJ, studio person who works through the night. It's different. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, are you more of a night owl then for working?
No, not anymore. I mean, I think naturally I'm a night person, but I've kind of forced myself into kind of working during the day. So, yeah, one of my kids likes to wake up between 5 and 6.
That's cool.
And so that's pretty much you're sort of up.
Yeah, you're done then, aren't you?
Yeah. So no, I still quite often I come home from the studio at about 6, and then I might have some dinner and kind of see my kids and then nip back afterwards.
Oh, really?
But not for like all night sessions. I might go back for 2-3 hours, but they can be pretty good, those 2-3 hours. Like quite creative. I think I'm definitely more creative either first thing in the morning or in the evening. Afternoon's my least creative time, but I can be forced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you find that you do have to force creativity sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
I mean, especially if I'm doing sessions with other people, they generally start at kind of 12 or 1 and we sort of wrap it up at 6 or 7. So that's basically happening in my least creative period. So if I have to do something, I will, and I can be creative during that time. But I have noticed, first thing in the morning, like maybe up to, between 6 and 12, there'd be kind of particularly creative times, or after 6 in the evening. I kind of got into this recently and kind of read a book about, just found a kind of graph about different, creative people and what hours they kept, like Dickens, always works in the morning.
Book called Rituals or something.
I think that's it.
Coffee on the front cover.
Yeah, that. And talking about Dickens, he kind of always wrote from 8 until 2, and then he went for like a 2-3 hour walk or whatever, and it was quite interesting. I mean, I think you can kind of get into that a little bit much, and I think writing literature and stuff is probably a bit different from vibesing in a studio.
Yeah.
But I used to do all my work really. I used to roll into, I think it was good if I got up before midday, and I'd roll into the studio via the pub. Kind of get there at sort of 2-3 in the afternoon, mess around, play pool, turn the studio on. Probably only really start working at like 6 or 7 or 8, and then stay till, I don't know, between 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Try and get to bed before it got light. That was always the thing.
Yeah, that's the sort of I don't know. There's always been a cut-off period. Try and get back before it's light.
Yeah,
otherwise,
because then you get all the whistling milkmen and all that, and it's just depressing.
Yeah, which is weird because because it's not like rolling through from a night out or something, because you've technically been working, for want of a better term, but so you shouldn't feel guilty. But for some reason, you can't help but feel guilty when, like you said, the worst is when it's like people taking their kids to school or something. And even if you've just been in the studio all night, there's something inherently weird and wrong about it. Yeah. Feel the shame.
But always getting up late, I felt guilty. Even if I'd been working all night and went to bed at 6 and was getting up at 12, I always felt, a bit kind of guilty about that. But, so I kind of lead, a fairly daytime-ish existence at the moment, which is cool. Yeah.
Do you have any little sort of studio rituals for getting in, of like to try and get into the groove of it? Like I find I can't get started for at least an hour. There's a lot of pottering about that needs to be involved, and the coffee making and the faffing. And
I mean, this is interesting as well. I've been reading about the kind of different stages of creativity. I'm going to forget what they are, but there's kind of preparation, I think it was. And then there's preparation, get everything ready. And then there's basically an incubation period, which I thought was quite interesting. So I'm doing a remix. I might chop up all the parts, get the sample instruments ready, get it all kind of tidy, get my palette together. Yeah. And quite often I find it quite hard to actually start the content. I need to kind of size it up for a bit, and it sort of feels like I'm not actually doing anything, but I think there's sort of an incubation period where you just kind of size it up, and then there becomes the illumination period where suddenly it's like, I've got it. And that can quite often come after a night's sleep, I find as well. Or you leave the studio, do something completely different, and come back, and suddenly it just kind of flows out. So, you know, I think in the studio, you might not be doing stuff necessarily on your computer or playing chords or whatever, but sometimes it just takes a bit of time for things to come out. I mean, I have little tricks in the studio, like I get distracted quite easily audio-wise as well as visually. So I find if I'm working in headphones for a little bit, that can kind of quite concentrate me for a bit. Even though I'm in a studio with no one in it, I find if I wear headphones, it's kind of like having a blinkers for a horse. You know, it kind of makes me focus. I kind of quite like when I'm making beats and stuff to start at a very low volume when I'm making drum beats, and then once I've got it together, reward myself by cranking it up. I never really start with it all blaring because I want to kind of save a little bit of inspiration or for later. So I've got little things like that, and obviously just, you know, taking loads of drugs before I start, you know. Just
rubbing it just into the eyeballs.
That's it. Yeah, I have one of those little kind of Muji vaporizers, but I just fill it full of chemicals.
Just tar heroin or something. No, that is,
it works for me.
Have you tried working standing up?
Yeah, at home, I've got another setup at home, Studio B, that couldn't be more different from my studio. My studio's underground. It's incredibly well built room, very well soundproofed and treated and stuff, but it has no windows. I've got a room at the top of my house that overlooks London. It's like on the 5th floor. It's amazing, but no treatment in there whatsoever. And I actually saw it. Denzel, the guy who owns Platoon, who put my music out, I went to his office and he had this desk and he like pressed this button and it went zzz, and I was like, whoa,
it's the future right there.
Where's that from? He's like, it's from IKEA. And so obviously I got home and straight on, I ordered one of these uppy downy desks from IKEA. So at home, I run from a laptop, so I've kind of got it. So I can get home, stick the laptop in the dock. I've got like a tiny little monitor, NS10s. I knew there'd be a use for them.
There you go.
With the Samsung amp that's totally rubbish, but it's supposed to be good, the NS10s. So I've got that, the same controller keyboard, the Novation one that I've got in the studio, exactly the same size, and the uppy downy desk. So yeah, nice. I can stand at home on that, which is it's great. I use it for at least 2 or 3 minutes and then sit down again and then forget I've actually got an uppy downy desk and start slouching and all that kind of stuff.
Or you're just sitting down but you've got it up and you're just kind of
tearing over the top.
Yeah.
I often think that when my kids are eating at the table and they're eating off a plate that's basically level with their nose. It's a bit like, it's very strange.
Actually, I could probably go in for that, and they could just very easily just shovel the food straight in.
Yeah, it's easy. It's
maybe with one of those uppy sort of bib malarkeys that you just finish it out of.
Yeah, I've seen my kids do that as well. They just oh look, there's more food there, and they just.
I don't think there should be shame in that as an adult. Yeah. I think that we should be normalising the bib with the eating out of it.
Maybe Kanye could develop a bib.
God, a lot of people have gone off Kanye recently, but I think if that could be his way to win back the hearts of the people.
Talking about bibs, one of the most ridiculous things I saw, I don't know if you ever saw it, it was a couple of months ago, something that just popped up on Insta annoyingly or whatever, but it was a beard trimming bib thing that you wear around your neck and you kind of stretch it out, and it means when you're trimming your beard, it doesn't go all over the floor. I thought that was
suckers on it that you go onto
the mirror or something. That was ridiculous.
I mean, that's probably made someone $1 million. And here we are, like mugs making music, trying to do something artistic and creative for our lives. And really, we should just be inventing these sort of little things.
I could have thought of that.
Could have done. These are the things, aren't they? You see something like that and went, I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
Why was that not me?
I went on a clay pigeon shooting thing once, and the guy, like the farmery guy who was telling us what to do, tried to tell us that he'd thought of bottled water before anyone else, and he seemed quite, wounded by the fact that everyone else had gone off and done this bottled water thing and made loads of money.
That's outrageous, isn't it? He deserves that money. Like, you know, and you need your percentage off Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
He needs his bottled water 20%.
And we'll both take a little chip off Kanye's.
Yeah.
Bit, yeah.
I'm pretty certain that I invented the sat-nav when I was a small child.
Did you?
Because I used to go on holiday to Cornwall, and I was, you know, as a child, you want to know how long it's going to be until you're there.
Yeah.
And you want to know sort of your position on a map. And I was like, wouldn't it be great if we had like a little little computer that could tell us, and it would show you a dot on the map of where you are. I don't know, maybe 6 or 7. So
just
you
a
know,
few
maybe
technical
TomTom or
obstacles to overcome. But yeah,
yeah,
the theory is
sure.
there. Yeah,
but it's the idea that counts, isn't it? So if TomTom want to get in touch and at least give me a free sat nav, I'll take the free sat nav.
Are they still? They're still there, TomTom?
money.
Are they still
Maybe.
making units?
Probably not so much. Everyone's just going on their phone now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's all about the ways.
Gutting. Yeah, that's it. It's gone.
Yeah.
So what you've got? You're working on a. Let's take it back. Come on, let's get back to music.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
New album's coming, I believe.
Is
Am I
it?
right?
Well,
this is what I've been led to believe by fairies.
Well, I'm kind of constantly changing my mind, as I always do, as to, because it's such a kind of a weird time for releasing music at the moment. So in my mind, I'm kind of like, I'm doing another album, but then you kind of come to the thing as I need to release something. So then I get something ready to release, and then I do a remix for it, and I get someone else to do a remix. Might do a remix swap with them, you know, do the instrumental, do a radio version, and it takes up quite a lot of time. And then I'm kind of like, can I still use that on my album? And it's kind of like, well, there's no rules about that really, but and then so basically, I've been in the process of making an album, and I've basically,
Since
I've got the 30. Well, no, for the last just over a year,
right?
And I've probably done 30, 40 tracks, some of which are more finished than others. So I think if I was locked away in the studio, in the residential studio, I'd probably do nothing. That's always my fear. I've thought about going to residential studios. I've had my manager kind of spec it all up, and I was like, right, I'm going to go 2 weeks to the studio. I'm just going to lock myself away and do this. But I kind of feel like I might not do anything. That's my worry.
That's possible. Yeah. That would be the time for the creative block to really
kick in,
really hit hard.
Yeah. So I've been making an album, but also I've been releasing stuff, and then I keep changing my attitude to whether dropping an album at one time is really the best thing to do now, or my distributor kind of trying to convince me that no, it's better just to drip feed, like every couple of months release something. You can just kind of put it together as a collection at the end. Me as an artist, as the body of work thing, I kind of do believe in albums, and but I just also I want to kind of release stuff regularly. So yeah, I'm doing an album. I don't know if it will come out as an album. I'm sort of planning next to do even a couple of 3-track EPs, I think, which will kill off them for the album, or won't it? I don't know. If something appears as an EP, can it then be part of an album? Can one of the tracks be part of an album? I don't really know.
Depends how much space you need to fill.
Yeah. But I've worked with loads of great people over the last year, and I've written some really great songs, and I've done some like really nice, interesting instrumental bits as well. Some garagey, some not so garagey, some very sort of piano-led kind of songs, some stringy stuff. So really, it feels like there's an album there. I just need to it needs to click in my mind, and it will either be I'll release stuff, drip feed it, and do some bigger EPs, or I'll suddenly go, do you know what? I'm gonna choose 10 tracks, finish them off, and it will be an album. But I do want to do the live thing, so I kind of feel like it's nice to have an album there for the live thing as well, because you've got this is the album. Now I'm going to go and tour the album, and I'll do some of the old stuff as well as part of that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. What do you think? What should I do?
I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah,
Matt.
you tell me.
I'll as your manager's gone, I'm your new manager.
Okay.
So we'll talk about the percentages later dependent on the success of the album
And the Kanye stuff. And,
yeah. Obviously, you know, we're probably
payment.
50-50s on that.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like with the sort of body of work album thing is just grabbing 10 tracks and just like, well, if we arrange them, that's the album now. It's like the thing with an album is that you're sort of telling a bit of a story with, you know, and you want it to be listened from start to finish, and you know, you can have the little interludes and like other bits and bobs in it to be, a coherent sort of, the body of work. But if it's like, well, I've been releasing a track a month all year and then put it together and his thing, it's a collection of singles. It's different.
A mixtape.
Yeah, because the album's supposed to have tracks on it. Really, well, you can do whatever you want. There are no rules, but like oftentimes, like people are like, well, you know, we wanted to experiment a little bit, you know, do a few things you wouldn't normally expect from us, and you know, just the beauty of doing an album.
In there.
Yeah, basically, put some sort of half-finished stuff in there. Whereas I've always quite liked the idea of going, well, I'm just going to do 12 absolute bangers, and that's good. Because everyone's like, oh, I just wanted to show off that we can do the more sort of deeper melodic vibe. Yeah. It's like, no, let's just do, let's just do banger.
No one's going to listen to it end to end anyway, because everyone's Spotify stuck on shuffle.
Yeah. But the game has changed. Like people are, the album seems to have less and less meaning, and I think that's a real shame.
But I think we're going through a bit of a transitory period, and that, you know, we will go back to more of, oh, right, I'm going to listen to albums end to end, because all this shuffling and playlists and stuff, it's kind of great, but I think in a way it kind of does, it's kind of forcing things to be put together that weren't intended to be together. Yeah. And I think we will in the future, probably the album as a kind of set piece and as a body of work will probably be looked back as and listen to end a little bit more, I hope. But I'm not saying that I'm doing an album then. Right. But I mean, I definitely like to do a piano album, which will be piano, which will sound like it is a journey and it's kind of coming from one place. I don't know. Sometimes I sort of think that maybe the collection of things I've got, I can fit them together into like more two-steppy stuff, like urban sounding things, much more kind of pop sounding things, and they naturally fall together in probably groups of 3. So it could be kind of like I release them as an EP. See, this is the trouble, because I have my own label and I can do whatever I want, and I'm like this Liban creative guy.
Master your own destiny.
You know, there's not enough boundaries. If I was signed to a label and I had someone breathing down my neck, and they paid me loads of money to do it, then I'd probably end up doing it, you know. So the answer is I don't know. But then, you know, with EPs as well, it's like, can you actually gather those to get? I don't know. It's very confusing. I'll tell you what annoys me on Spotify is that your albums appear after the most popular tracks. So on mine, I've got like 5 most popular tracks, and then it goes to 2003, cut to the chase. And then all the stuff that I've released in like the last 5 years is way down the bottom. So if they could just move that stuff above the albums, that would be great.
It's tricky. It's hard to find stuff sometimes, unless you know exactly what you're looking for. Like if you're exploring stuff from, you know, let's say you hear a track by someone you've not heard of before, and like, oh right, cool. Well, I'll go and check out some of their stuff. Like there's, you see the couple of popular tracks, you see the album, and there's just like a whole, you know, swathe of stuff in between that's just sort of lost in the void. Yeah. The streaming void. But it seems like stuff now, like you release a track, it's got a shelf life of 10 days. Yeah. A week. Yeah. Like it's, and then you sort of need another track ready.
See, that's my other fear about releasing an album, is that, you know, you might work on it for a year, a couple of years, and then comes to the release date, you release it, and then 10 days later it's like, oh, what's next? You're like, hold on, I just released an album that should keep me going for a year or 2 years. I'm going to go and tour it. And I think the very big artists, you know, Sam Smiths, Adele's, and guys who've been who were album artists before the advent of streaming, I think they can still get away with that. But that would make me feel very empty and lonely inside to release something, and then suddenly a month later they're like, "What's next?" So that's I just don't know. I'm just going to make some records.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. But you've got to play the game now. You've got to be keeping up with these millennials. They move fast. They've got short attention spans. They want emojis. They want gifs. They want enormous asses. Come on.
It's funny because I saw someone talking about a record I put out last year. I think it was even Pictures in My Head. Someone said on the ether somewhere, I've just rediscovered this old track. Pictures. It came out in December. Like, how fast are these people living their lives? It's amazing. Something that's 6 months old, exactly 6 months old, could be thought of as old. But it's like, there's so much coming through now, isn't there? It's like there's hundreds of thousands of bits of music popping out every week.
But is anything even going to become classic anymore? Like in the real sense of the word? Like, I've been going through the vinyl and like playing them on my podcast, and stuff's 18, 19, 20 years old. And like, this is wonderful. Are people going to be listening to the stuff of now in 18? I don't know.
It's impossible. It's always impossible to say at the time, isn't it?
Make a prediction.
At least a decade's worth of time before you can actually. It's like decades. So we can look back at the 80s and say, "Oh, it was about this," and you get a flavour for it. 90s, probably we're just about to begin to think what the noughties were about. So I reckon it takes a buffer of 10 years to be able to look back and decide, actually take a viewpoint and decide what actually something was like. So, but anyway, you want me to take a punt? Do I think records that are around at the moment will be seen as classics?
Let's say in 2030, will we just look back and go, I don't remember a single record released between 2011 and 2020? It's just a grey void with Kanye screeching.
Yeah, I think only 20% of the records will we look back on during this decade and think and consider them to be as classic as records that we consider classics from before that. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
It feels like that. It feels like there's a lot of records, especially on the radio. A record will come out and it will have this a guitar thing at the beginning, and suddenly there's like 7 records on the radio starting with a guitar split chord at the beginning, and it's like, and then it kind of makes me feel, think forward to AI, and basically it makes me think the AI is going to, obviously, as Elon Musk says, is going to completely become, more intelligent than humans. We need to be careful, and they've got access to all the Google mainframes and blah, 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 blah. Surely, at some stage, we'll be able to recreate through just algorithms something that sounds pretty good as a piece of music by analysing all the top stuff in Spotify and stuff. It's only ones and zeros. I'm sure Dave could help out with this. And to actually pump out stuff that sounds mediocre. It won't have the X factor. It won't have that magic. It won't have that special musical quality. But a lot of stuff I hear coming out, it's like, it sounds all very good, but it doesn't,
all the boxes,
it doesn't hit me in the heart, or it doesn't make me want to cry, or it doesn't make me angry. It just kind of seems to be nice, but I'm not quite sure. It seems quite synthetic already. So I don't know if that's something. It's quite an exciting time, because I think music was kind of set in its ways for a bit, and everyone got a bit kind of, blasé about stuff. So I think it's kind of been good, and it is nice to see that we're getting paid every time someone listens to a record, as opposed to they buy it and spend a tenner and then just sit on the sofa and you don't know if they're listening to it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can really see, that there are actually people out there listening to and hopefully enjoying. I was talking to TC on drum and bass guy on Instagram, and he posted a thing that was a tweet of someone saying, "Oh, if you've got a friend who's a producer or something, when you go to bed every night, put one of their songs on Spotify on repeat and put it on mute,
right?
To earn." But I think you have to get it has to be playing for at least 30 seconds.
20, I think it is.
It's only 20.
I think because there's a thing about producers trying to get people hooked within the first 20. Maybe it's 30 seconds,
of
whatever.
Front loading. Of
yeah.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
people in studios, especially in the pop world, have changed their attitude to arrangement to suit Spotify.
Oh, and the people who just like, I'll just listen to the first little bit of a song and then skip on to the next.
So you
song.
need to catch them to go past that threshold of 20 or 30 seconds so that it qualifies as a play.
That's unbearable, isn't it?
Yeah.
To think about making a record to that.
I mean, I find it now when I'm making records, like I used to, when I did a remix, I used to think I've got no time constraint. It's going to be 5, 6, 7 minutes long. It's going to be something that's going to appear on vinyl. I used to think I'm going to start 16 or 32 bars drums. I want to start with no musical bits, so it's nice, easy to mix in, like key-wise. And then going to have a nice breakdown and, you know, have some content. And then I'm going to have, you know, some kind of drummy bit before the breakdown two-thirds of the way through that I'll probably end up mixing out of in the club. And it comes back in at the end. I have a nice load of drums at the end. Now when I'm doing remixes, I'm kind of thinking, oh, the intro needs to be quite short. I need to go straight into kind of vocal. And really, I'm kind of making records that I know are going to be more difficult for me to play in a club because whoever I'm doing them for wants them to be on Spotify.
Yeah.
And they don't want 32 bars of drums at the beginning. If I do that, they'll just say, we need a radio version. And then the other version, probably they won't even put on Spotify.
Yeah.
So it's, all these kind of boundaries are changing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I kind of liked making records that I knew I could play in a club, you know.
Yeah, you do take such a different approach specifically when you know that the main format it will be listened to on is vinyl. You know, and also the main people that would be using it would be DJs.
Yeah.
So you're really going for I remember like labels saying, well, look, you've got to put loads more drums at the beginning of the track, like because otherwise no one's going to play it. Because it's a pain in the ass to mix. Yeah. I was like, well, yeah, but it completely ruins the beginning of the song. Well, yeah, unlucky. Yeah. It's like, all right, well, okay, let's adapt it a little bit. And there are always, constraints and sort of, to be like, how many people out there are there who are like, I just make the music that I want to make and I just do whatever I want. And they've actually managed to be successful out of it. It's got to be in the tiny minority. Everyone has got
to be like Radiohead, probably,
or Aphex Twin or Square Pusher or something. You would think, but like for the chances of like actually being really successful by only ever making exactly what you wanted, it's got to be so remote.
Slim.
Because you have to be a little bit like, well, you have to just roughly know that there's a market or that I have a fan base and I need to balance what I want to do or my creative stuff with knowing a little bit what they're going to be into and what they expect from me. But also show them something new, and it can be a bit of a sort of internal struggle.
Vibe killer.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I haven't even started anything. It's already got to be there. I'm getting pulled this way, that way. It's got to be this, it's got to be that, it's got to be vocal. Not too many drums, blah, blah, blah. Ugh.
Do you find that people do just want, like, those, old, lovely, melodic, just want endless, sincere repetitions?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of struggled with this over the years. Like, we're talking about 2008 or 9, I think at that time I was like, I don't play garage. I'm not playing any garage at all. I don't play that anymore. And I kind of I just wanted not to be someone who was just playing records like they used to. I didn't want to get cemented into an era that didn't seem to be, wasn't changing, because garage got killed off, when the kind of the grime thing came through and stuff. And dubstep as well, it kind of, garage just suddenly disappeared. It's the same thing that happened to dubstep. Suddenly no one even mentioned the word.
Yeah. The D word.
No one mentioned garage, and it all completely disappeared. So I kind of decided, right, I'm going to go off down this new route, and that's going to be the new me. But, I'm constantly getting pulled towards garagey stuff, and I'm kind of like, I do appreciate, and I do kind of like it as a form, and I feel very at home making it. And I think, I was sort of partly responsible for kind of the way it sounded, along with probably 20, 30 other people. So I kind of, people do, I think they do it's kind of hard because they do expect me to make something that sounds like, you know, I've made it. And if I try and go off on a tangent or think, yeah, I've hit something here, it's a new sound, it's slightly different tempo, and quite often they'll just be like, it doesn't sound like you made it. You know? And so it's a bit of a kick in the nuts.
They need that MJ magic.
Yeah. So it's difficult.
You've given them
like
too
that.
much. You've shown them all your tricks, and now they want it all.
I guess it's sort of a compliment though that people want something that sounds similar. I mean, I'm making stuff at the moment that that definitely sounds like me, but I don't think it sounds like me making records 15 years ago necessarily. It does. I hope have a bit more of a modern edge to it and stuff.
If you were like let's imagine you make a secret alias. And you could make any genre of music you wanted to, and no one would know it was you, and therefore not judge it on your previous work. Are there any particular genres you would like to try and get stuck into? Maybe is it techno or some Dutch progressive house?
I mean, what stuff you think that I might be good at, or stuff that I like the idea of making?
Both.
I'd love to make drum and bass records. I think I'm still a drum and bass head. You know, my life kind of went classical music and then drum and bass, and I still I think if I'm going to go out to a club and hear music, drum and bass would definitely be the most exciting music for me to listen to. It could, you know, I grew up from kind of 15 through to sort of probably, you know, 23, those sort of years, being obsessed with it, and that just being like the holy grail. Like, this is such new music. I loved it, and I just spent my whole time in the bedroom mixing, and so really I'd love to make drum and bass. I don't think I'd be as good at making it as some of you guys or whatever, but if I was good at making it under an alias, I'd secretly love to make drum and bass.
Well, the thing that I find a pain in the ass with drum and bass now is it seems like it's about 20% making a good record and then 80% making it as loud as is physically possible to make.
Oh, is it?
Like,
what, to be played out?
Yeah,
because you still have the loudness.
Got to match everyone else's, and well, the long and short of it is I'm not as good at doing that stuff. Like, I don't know. I've always been shitty at mixdowns, and so I just find that bit so tough.
Right. I mean, that's kind of quite a small thing now, isn't it? Because really, the loudness stuff only applies to things that are being DJ'd out, right? Because obviously on Spotify they have a floor now, right?
Really?
You know, yeah. The output from Spotify is just being reduced, and they have a loudness matching thing, so that you can listen to a Beatles record and you can listen to a Kanye record.
Yeah.
Like the Kendrick Lamar album, they purposely didn't limit the whole album loads at all to make it loud, but you listen to it on Spotify and it sounds great because it's actually a lower level than some of the other stuff, but Spotify loudness matches it, and there's a load of headroom in Spotify to allow for that. Yeah, which is great, because suddenly all mastering engineers are like, oh great, we don't have to brick wall everything,
smash everything
and
to
stuff.
bits.
Yeah, so we can actually retain some of the you know, dynamics of the original mix, which is really cool. But playing in a club, or you're going through promos and stuff, then it's not going to sound as loud. So
that's it. I mean, like, now I just try and make ridiculous club bangers. Like, it's, you know, I'm, you know, not trying to do anything too clever, should we say? So it's less. So it's more. I mean, people do listen to mad stuff in their bedrooms and their cars and so on, but it's like, yeah, this is dance floor fodder. Yeah, really. So it's got to have the real, you know,
rolls and whooshes and
bottom smashed
drops
out of it.
And
yeah,
all
it's got to have all the, you know, the meaty sustenance. Yeah. But why do you think you've never, you know, you've never made any? Well, not in recent times.
What, drum and bass?
Yeah.
I just don't think my musical talents would be. I don't think it would be any good, basically. Yeah. I don't really get on with loops very well. They always irritated me. I know quite a lot of drum and bass now isn't loops, right? Yeah, but during the loopy drum and bass time, I got very irritated by loops, because I'm kind of quite I want things to be exactly right, and they never quite were. And I, you know, went through all these things. I remember the early days of, like on the Roland 760, like actually seeing how many samples a 4 beat a bar of a sample was, and then on my calculator, like dividing that by 16, and then actually writing down the actual values for where everyone was, and then matching those values, chopping it into 16 bits, and kind of doing what Recycle did before Recycle was out.
Yeah.
And going through all this kind of stuff, and then you'd obviously be in the situation where you're on an Atari and you're running MIDI, and channel 1 plays actually before channel 2, and you're swapping channels around and then chopping bits off the beginning of samples. That kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, I bet. I was had Mark Knight on, and he was telling me about getting his calculator out to work out delay times.
Oh yeah. We have delay sheets. You just have a sheet with all the BPMs and the delays. Yeah.
Lord of mercy.
Yeah.
Cool.
I still have to do that with my bell delay. I've got a BD80 at the studio now. Amazing thing. And suddenly it's like, all right, it's got numbers on it. I have to like work it out. Obviously, I get up an Echo Boy and press crotch it, and then just copy the number off or whatever.
Oh yeah,
but,
sure.
know.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah.
What are your main go-to plugins in the studio at the moment?
So I use what do I use?
There's Omnisphere up, I saw.
Yeah. Oh, so you're talking about synths or dynamics or what? Yeah, so synths, Omnisphere, got Keyscape recently, Spectrasonics. I've got all the Spectrasonic stuff like Trillion, Trilogy or whatever it's called now. I use EXS as a sample all the time. I do use battery. Sometimes I find it a bit slow. I was chatting to someone about that today. I like EXS. I think it's very inexpensive CPU-wise. I love just getting loads of stuff spread out on the keyboard. I come from samplers, so I love EXS still. I still don't think it's as good as an Akai sampler for like getting a key group or EMU sampler, messing around with the filters and stuff that. It's not as creative, but EXS. So they've got Omnisphere. What else are you? I've got Spire and Serum and all those kind of things. I've got quite a few synths, and then plug-in wise, I use a lot of the Sound Toy stuff. I use a lot of the DMG stuff. I use I've got all the waves bits.
Endless waves.
I've got UADs, and I don't use as many UADs as I should. I think I'm just always scared that it's got to have a box hanging off the edge, even though I've got a box at home and a box at the studio. It just needs a processor, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I've got one of the Apollo Twin jobbies just as the main sound card. So
yeah.
But I guess it means you can't use the plugins if you're just using your laptop
you need
on
to
the
have
road.
it connected to something.
I don't think I bought it with it. Oh, look at all these things you can get, and you can get a emulation of a Culture Vulture.
Yeah.
I've never once used one of the things.
What else? I like is it Fab Filter?
Yeah,
their stuff is really nice. There's other people as well. I've got a good. I feel like I've got a nice selection of plugins, and it covers all bases. I've got several different options for things, and occasionally, the worst one not the worst one, but if I work with other producers, they invariably come into my room like, "Have you got a thingy?" I'm like, "What's that?" And they're like, "Oh man, have you not got that? You haven't got that, man. It's amazing." And then you go and you download the demo, and then you make a track, and they're like, "Yeah," and you're like, "Sounds amazing." You download the demo, make a track, go and open it a week later, and it's like, "We'll have 200 quid off you, please." Yeah. So it's cost me a lot of money, but I have actually found some really good plugins like that people put me onto. You know.
Yeah. You were using Loop Cloud, I saw.
Yeah, I love the Loop Cloud. I think it's great.
Great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really good. I mean, I love the way it integrates into my sequencer. I can just have it come up on an audio channel. I think that's amazing. I think they've done a really good job on that. It's kind of mad as well when I search for stuff on that, and suddenly one of my loop, you must get this time, but one of my loops pops up. It's like, ugh, what's that? You know, it's like, oh yeah, I made that. So
what is this awful racket?
MJ something. Yeah. Actually, they're all pretty low level, I noticed. So I think if I did another sample pack, I'd probably do a bit more loudness.
Better than them being too smashed though. Like you need to have that room for people to be able to put endless effects and sausage fatteners on.
Yeah.
I
don't have got the sausage fattener.
You've got to have the sausage fattener and just load it onto every single channel.
Nice to look at.
Yeah, I'd quite like a hardware box of it or something.
With a real sausage.
With an actual proper sausage on there that you could just start screaming.
Slightly squelchy.
Yeah.
Maybe the squelch could do something as well.
Yeah. They've probably made so much money out of that ridiculous plug-in.
Yeah.
That it's just one knob. I don't know, the simplest things in life though. Yeah. What do you use Loop Cloud mainly for, like finding drum hits and drum like your little musical bits rather than
more
loops?
for not so much drum hits. I think Loop Cloud I use mostly, actually, saying that I never use loops, for sort of musical things. I've quite often used it, like Pictures in My Head, that guitar loop. I use it as a starting point quite often. So I might have a beat up and then I'll just run through some kind of musical things. I might take one thing, drag it out onto my Logic page, and then start building myself musically around it. I think it's really good for kind of beginning inspirations.
Yeah.
I don't use it so much for one-shot things.
Have you tried the pitch match thing where you can say, "Oh, I'm working in F" or whatever?
This is new, right?
And it'll so if
Matt
you
told me
set
about that. I
if you
haven't
set it
tried
to
it.
say F, it will anything that's not in F, it will pitch it to F while
Right.
you're auditioning. So you
See,
can
I'm sort of a bit like I don't ever really trust any of that pitchy stuff. I don't really trust mixed in key and stuff. Because I sometimes do remixes or bits of records, and it might start on like a chord 4 pedal or something, and then it resolves to 1, and it kind of gets the keys wrong. And I don't know. I'm a bit dubious about this sort of key matching. I like to kind of I'd just put a sound shifter on that particular channel and just mess around with the knob. But I think that's a great feature. To be honest, Matt told me about it. I haven't tried it for a couple of weeks. I think it's a new thing, right? Yeah. But
all the kids are doing it now. You have to get into it. Yeah.
Is that how I get that sound?
Yeah, Kanye told me about that.
Did he?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Charged me quite a lot of money,
I just missed a call
actually.
from him, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've gone down a Kanye hole. I completely forgot what I was going to ask you.
You've been tarred.
Yeah, Lord of mercy. So your studio is in a big complex. Is it the gin factory?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the biscuit factory.
Oh, there we go. With Factory Brothers.
Yeah. How many studios are there?
There's 12.
Yeah.
12. Yeah.
Do you build them all? Or
not with my own hands.
No.
But yeah, we
got a man in.
We took the building on about 5 years ago, and there's 12 studios in there, and we did it in 2 halves. Did 6 in the sub basement first, and then we did 6 in the basement, and there's an office on top and stuff. So yeah, we've got good people in there. We've got like who's in there? So it's me, Danny Howard, Tim Deluxe. There's like SG Lewis, Bruno Major, Jimmy Napes, quite a few people. Yeah, some good people.
Nice
Blake
bunch,
from John, like Nathan, who does amazing mixing. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, nice. I mean, it looked like a really nice space on the video that I've watched. I also noticed you got a DJ set up in a keyboard rack.
I'll do it on a Jasper's keyboard stand.
Yeah, that's a life hack for everyone out there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm trying to work
I don't really use them much.
No?
No, I mean,
they do it all for you now, don't they?
Well, they do. You don't have to do anything,
do nothing.
I bought those CDJs because I was playing in clubs, and I was just kind of, I don't really know how these CDJs work, because I've never actually had the opportunity just to mess around with one, because I'm always playing.
Yeah.
So I actually bought them to mess around on. I did mess around on them quite a bit and worked out what they actually do, but I don't really play on them as much now. I think that someone was saying, in fact, it was Jimmy who was saying the other day, that he doesn't really think decks should be on a keyboard stand. It should be a keyboard on a keyboard stand. And I was kind of like, yeah. And then I thought maybe I'll get them flight cased up, because I don't really, the thing about I've got them on a keyboard stand, and you know what it's like trying to DJ when you haven't got a monitor in the right place, and you've just got studio monitors somewhere over the side of the room. It's rubbish. It's not the same thing. So I think what would be good, I was thinking, get them flight cased up, have them at the side of the studio, and then when I go on the decks, move my controller keyboard out the way, put the flight case down, so it's right in the middle of the speakers, a little bit lower down, and then you're off. Yeah. And then I just didn't do it.
Oh, right.
I just left them where they were.
Yeah, because I thought it's either a genius life hack or perhaps you're hiding some bodies somewhere, and that's a good explanation of you. Well, he's put decks on the keyboard rack. There's something iffy.
Yeah, it does work pretty well, actually.
Yeah. I'm thinking about getting the modular onto the wall. Oh, that's quite a nice one. Have it up on the wall. Very sort of mad scientist.
You seen Junkie XL's modular?
Oh, he's got some mammoth thing.
It's a whole wall.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God. So you do a lot of stuff for film. And yeah.
He's done. He did like Mad Max, and he's done the Batman movies.
Yeah, that'll do, won't it?
Yeah, he's doing really well. I mean, I'm very interested to go down that particular route.
I was gonna
myself.
say, like, because you've done a few adverts, haven't you?
You count them on one hand. Yeah, not that many.
Did you enjoy doing them?
No.
Okay.
Well,
working to a spec.
Some I did. Yeah, well, I find it difficult. It's very different from making records, doing adverts, when you just get prodded in different directions, and you kind of start off with this thing that you think is kind of good, and then, you know, it ends up going through loads of different versions, and there's 12 people involved, and they want you to be a bit more like this, and you end up with this thing, and you're kind of like, well, it's ticked all the boxes, but I guess it's like all the colour gets mixed and you end up with brown, right? Yeah. You just end up with this thing, but you get really well paid for it. And so I like writing to picture. That's why I'd really like to do film a lot more. Yeah. I love the marriage of music and visuals. You know, I'm really into that. I'd really like to do a full-on film score, like piano led, kind of strings, kind of affected, kind of esoteric thing. You know, I'd love to do that. I'm doing music for a game at the moment.
Oh,
like
really?
A big game that's coming next year, yeah. And that's been like quite a big project. I haven't really been able to talk about it. I still can't talk about it properly, but I can say that I'm doing a game. Yeah. And I've been doing that for 6 months now. But that's about to be done, I think, in a couple of months. But that's been really cool doing that, because suddenly you're making a bit of music that's going into game levels, and it's not A to B. You know, you make a 5-minute piece of music. There's a piece of music that will go around on loop maybe for the first section, and then have variations within that loop, and it can continue forever. And then the character might trigger something, and then suddenly you move on to different things. So it's been really interesting doing that, and then actually making these bits of music and then seeing it implemented in the game, and then sending it back to me, and I can just sit there and play this game, and it's got my music, and it's so that's a bit like the arrangement thing you were saying, when you get your mum to come and listen to a track and you realise that something's a bit too long. Yeah, you're playing a game, and if the music's not quite right or it doesn't lift up, then you can go back in and change it and kind of re-upload it. So that's been really cool. But I'm hoping that's going to kind of lead me in a bit more of a filmy direction as well, because I'd love to go walk into a premiere somewhere at the Odeon in Leicester Square and sit in the middle, and it'd be my music on the film.
Yeah, you reckon that'd be all right? Yeah, you'd be happy about that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
I think I'd take that or leave it. Yeah, I think maybe
so
see what's on telly.
You've got to have
goggle boxes on. I shan't bother.
You've got to have a vision, haven't you? And I think that'd be a nice thing. Yeah,
just an absolutely wonderful thing to have done. I mean, I don't know whether or not is the route to try and find a director or a filmmaker that you. I don't know.
I haven't really put much thought into that. Yeah, I guess so. I think more people are kind of looking for people to do films who don't do films, because I think there's a lot of guys who kind of do adverts and they do films, and they produce music that kind of sounds very adverty or filmy. And I think Junkie XL is a good example, because he was obviously making records before, and he did that Elvis remix, didn't he? And then he kind of went off into this film thing, and so he's got his own kind of special sound really to films that he's developed, very synthy, kind of making all these kind of amazing modular sounds and stuff like that. So yeah, I think people are who are making films are probably looking for more musically, artistically based people. So that's where I come in. And then, I guess you have to get to know a few people. But I think this game that I'm doing should be a cool way in.
Well, that's good. I mean, you get to add like your character of your creativity onto their thing. Whereas, obviously people that have sort of just only been in that world are look to sort of adapt themselves to the project. Yeah. Whereas you can, if they're approaching you as a well-known artist with a, fairly well-known sound, then even though you're not just going to write a collection of MJ Cole records to go on the background of their music, that they know that it's going to in some way have your stamp and your sort of, trademark vibe, or however you want to phrase it, on top of it. And that sort of interesting marriage of, obviously don't even know what the film would be about, but would be, you know, an interesting creative thing.
That's what I'm hoping.
I'm sure it will be fine.
Yeah, it's going to be. What could possibly go wrong?
No. Look, Matt, we've done an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
I think we'll...
that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll say goodbye to people on the internet land. Thanks so much for coming in, man.
Yeah, no worries.
Been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So you're in Hideout tomorrow in Brighton?
Yeah. Cycling down, especially. I might do an Insta story. I hate Insta stories, but I might do one, actually. I'm cycling down with Tim Deluxe, actually.
Really?
He's coming down, yeah. But yeah, I'm playing there tomorrow. And then I thought I'm at the Nest in London the week after that, actually. I haven't played in London for a while, so...
I might pop down to the thing at the Nest, actually.
Yeah, cool, man.
I think that actually might be the day that I move up. So I'll definitely be
I think it's
keen
a week,
to get drunk
week tomorrow.
Yeah, it's on the Friday night.
Yeah.
I'll probably be all grotty from moving and like desperately want to get on the sauce. So,
Yeah.
It'll be fine, mate.
Yeah.
Right, lovely. Thanks, mate.
Cool,
Absolute
man.
pleasure.
All right.
Bye.